2, 1. So it would appear that we are live. I am so excited to have my guest here today. I was trying to figure this out the other day. We've known each other for 2 years now, or 1 year?
Yeah.
How long has it been? Do you remember?
I think we met at the Superwoman Summit, or was it Danielle session?
I don't know. I think it was the Superwoman. Well, no, I think it was before that.
Yeah.
Or maybe in Kristen's group. I don't even know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did Superwoman Summit before Kristen.
So that must have been it. I don't know, but all I know is that I adore you. And I'm so excited that you are here with us today. So let me give you the introduction that you are deservedly due. So Ms. Dorice is a highly dynamic speaker, certified positive intelligence coach, and an oi to joy relationship navigator. I love that. She supports professional women create healthy relationships and deepen connections, first with themselves and then at home and work. She serves clients. Among her corporate clients are Thermo Fisher Scientific, Standard Insurance, KLA, and other awesome women from around the globe who feel stuck, find clarity. She believes that practicing mental fitness is a key to achieving much of life's happiness. Oh, I love this. Interested in learning more? Here she is. I'm so excited for you to be here today. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Oh my gosh, no, I'm humbled right here as I'm hearing my own introduction, which by the way, I did right. but it's always like, wow, so many things have gone in the last 2 years and here I am. Amazing. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being my friend. Especially in this Zoom virtual world, right? Keep on this friendship, the connection. It's not obvious. And it requires work. So thank you for being my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You'd think with us being at home and now we have constant access to our computers, it would be easier. But you're right. It's absolutely more of a concerted effort nowadays. So I'm so glad you're here today. So let's dive right in. So can you bring us a little bit of background as like to how your company came to be and like what was your inspiration for what you're doing?
Okay. Wow. So you have 5 hours, right? Okay, so let's start.
Sure.
While standing on one foot, pretty much, in 2018, I decided that I could no longer work in my job of 16 years. I was the education director in a synagogue, a position that I enjoyed, that I loved, that I felt that I'm being of service to other people. But there was some calling in the back of my mind, in my brain, that told me, Dorice, there is something out there for you that you need to go and search. So of course, when I tell my husband that at the very beginning stages, he, being the rational, amazing man that he is, he said, let's find other jobs. And then you just, move from this job to this job. And at first, the voice in me was not as loud. So I said, oh, okay, maybe I will do that. But it clearly became louder and louder that I'm not looking for another job. I'm not looking to work in another company. I'm looking to be an entrepreneur for myself. And I want to set the vision to where I'm going to go. And in February of 2018, it dawned on me as I was flying to Israel. My girlfriend, the night before, comes and gives me a book. And she says, Dorice, put it in your bag. And on the flight, read this book. So for those of you who know, traveling from here to Israel is a long flight. So I could read the book in one flight. And I got on the plane and I look at the book. And the book is The Universe Has Your Back, Gabrielle Bernstein. I don't know if anybody of your audience heard of that book. I land in Israel 20 some hours later. I called my husband from the airport and I said, honey, I'm leaving and I'm going to leave real soon, like July. And it caught him a little bit surprised. And he's like, let's talk about it when you come back. And I was like, no. You're either with me or without me, because I'm going. I'm done. And it's amazing what happens when we make already a decision in our heart. Somehow the universe does have your back. It doesn't mean that you don't have to do actions. Right? And I talk about that a lot. So you have that awareness, but it needs to be followed with steps. You can't just sit and say, it will happen because I feel it should happen. God works in mysterious ways, it will happen. No. He will help you bring it, but you got to do some steps. So I've done it. And one of the things that I did is that I hoped and I prayed and I plan of living, as I say it all the time, with my head up. I didn't want to live with regrets, with resentment, with anger, with all these things that so many people, when they leave their work, it's like, that's it, done. I wanted to live with love. That could be a tag thing. Live with love. And I did. It was just beautiful. I left. I love everybody that was there. But when I left in July 1st, 2018, I had no business plan. I had no book, which now I have, as you know, it's right behind me. Yeah, I'll show you. And I didn't have, exactly the vision of what's going to be. I knew in general, and the words I said when I left, I said, I want the world to be my stage. Is that not what just happened in the last 2.5 years? It's exactly that. And so, and then on top of it, pile that up, that in August, my daughter was getting married. And I knew that I'm going to be busy with the wedding. But miraculously, within 12 days, I contacted one publishing company, one, that's all, one. And within 12 days, they emailed me back that my book has been accepted.
How does that happen? You need to teach a course on how to get a book published, clearly.
I think it is the universe. It is the universe, but it doesn't mean that I didn't do something. If you want to know what I did, which is really kind of cool, because in May, so 3 months before that, 2 months before that, I go to a book meeting with somebody that published a book. Mm-hmm. And she speaks to this audience of 250 people about her book. So I went afterwards up to her. So step number 1, be courageous and take actions. I went up to her and I said, hi, Emily. I loved your story. I feel my heart is twinging with her story because her story was pretty sad and traumatic. And maybe, we could have one time, like a drink together, because I would love to know how you went through the process of writing your book. And there are those angels out there, because she turned to me and she said, thank you so much for wanting to get together with me. I would love to. Sometimes we just need to ask, because you don't know that the other person is seeking the connection. You don't know. So I did. And then she ended up actually coming to my house for a dinner. And I told my husband and my son, take the night off, go somewhere, because I want time with Emily by myself. Yep. And so we started having this conversation on different things in life. And then we went to the book publishing, and she said to me, why don't I connect you with my publisher and see what happened? And that was it. She connected me with the publisher. The publisher and the founder actually called me back and said, let's set up a time that we can just talk on the phone. I knew he had 20 minutes talk on the phone with me. At that time, I had a manuscript that I read, and I had the editor, so I knew it was pretty good shape. It wasn't like at the very beginning stages. It was pretty ready to go. And I heard, when you speak to some people that have, the timer going, the 20 minutes is up because you hear cling. And I said, oh, David, it seems like I've crossed over my 20-minute limit. I want to be respectful of your time. Another very important tip, don't leech on somebody constantly. Just be aware of time, right? And he said, oh, no, if I wanted to close this conversation, I would have done it a long time before. So I felt like, oh, okay, so he wants to talk to me. So that's kind of good. So then he told me all the things I needed to do and sent him an email. So unlike other people who upload it to a publishing company website and then wait for 3 months, I was gifted this ability to email him directly my Word document. So I did. And I said, it's not completely ready. I'm going to go through some touches, points, whatever. And he says, let me know also your Facebook, your website. And of course, at that time, I didn't have that. I mean, I had Facebook, but didn't have website.
Mhm.
And he wanted to know more about my social media presence, because this was a really important company, publishing company, that holds themselves to a certain level of who are their authors.
Sure.
So you have to also think, what is the messages that you have on your social media, and do they match the book that you
Right.
want to publish, right?
Yeah.
If you want to
Yeah.
put a book about to teenagers, but then your Facebook pages are all about drinking wine and being, doing all this partying stuff,
Yep.
It could be a problem. I'm not saying it
Right.
couldn't happen, but it could be a problem to those who want to publish. So anyway, I was in Philadelphia 3 days before my daughter's wedding, and I get this phone call from David himself saying, "Hey, we want your book." And that was a miracle from heaven. So that's what happens. You find an opportunity, and and if you don't, you seek the opportunity. That's the key. You seek the opportunity. You see this woman on the stage. She had done something you want to do. Muster your courage, right? Get your chest up and approach. Because and have that laser focused reason why you want to do that. If your book is good, somebody wants to read it. Somebody wants to read it. So I don't know if you have authors on this group, but anyway, this is my book story. And then from there it was just, God bring people my way. So one time, I met Stephanie, and she said to me, "Oh, you want to come with me to the Superwoman Summit?" No, she asked me to come actually to Danielle for a workshop. And I went, and over there I met the founder of the Superwoman Summit. So I, again, here you go, same tactic, reach out, ask if you can get together for coffee, half an hour of their time, bring something as a gift, which I did. I brought my book as a gift. Somebody wants to spend a half an hour with me. Hey, that's really nice. They don't owe me anything. So showing gratitude and appreciation to people, not only to God for all the things that you have, or for, the source or whatever, but actually show it to people. So I met with her, and I didn't plan on being the Superwoman keynote speaker. It was not even on my radar. I didn't think that I was actually capable of it. How's that? So like, I'm just starting this thing. I don't know. And here Jessica says to me, "I think I can carve for you a 20-minute slot to be on the main stage. Would you like that?" And I'm like, please God, tell me what is happening around me. Right? So when you are, and sometimes the universe tells you you're ready before you're ready. So what you have to do, right? You have to catch up with that and just know that you will get there and you will do it. And always think about, what is the purpose of you doing that? Right? I mean, if somebody asked me to speak about car design, and they say, "Oh, you're a great speaker. Can you speak about car design?" I'm like, well, not me. I can tell you about how to navigate your life while you may be driving a car, but I cannot tell you about car design. So know that what you are going to speak, you're going to speak from your heart.
Yeah, stick in your zone of genius. And I want to go back to a couple of things you said there, which were golden, is that you got into action. So I think there's a lot of talk, and rightfully so, it's very valuable to talk about manifestation and visualization and meditation, right? And those are all things that I believe in and I practice. But without the action, there's no actualization, right? You have to have all of those steps together in order for it to work. Because I think that we all got into this mindset that if I just wished for it and made enough vision boards and put enough Pinterest boards and just and felt what it was like to accomplish that already, it would just happen. It's like, you eventually have to get into action to actually help yourself to do those things as well. So I'm glad you brought that up. And then number two, I'm glad you brought up the point about you did it before it was perfect, right? Here you are meeting with this publisher, and your book's not solid. It's not completely all decked out, and you went and did it anyways. And he didn't care, right? He knew what the overarching message was, and that was all he needed. So I love that. And then I love that you talk about gratitude, which I think is huge. And I think we need to go back to basics in terms of when someone says 20 minutes, that you at that time acknowledge it's been 20 minutes. I want to be mindful of your time. I can't tell you how many meetings I've led and I've said that exact same thing. And they are like, I am so thankful you said that, right? And then to also, my mom would always say, don't come to someone's house empty handed. If they're going to invite you over, you bring a gift. So I love that you brought a gift. And I love that it was your book. Genius. That's a genius book.
Yes, my books, in my book, I've got
Yes.
of them. And it's like, why wouldn't I? It's the least that I can do to show my appreciation.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
love
Absolutely.
and really my gratitude for people who want me to succeed and who want me, Jessica heard me on 2 minutes on Danielle's stage. My name was picked out by the draw of the luck, to stand on the stage and to speak, and whatever came out of me in 2 minutes, that's what came out of me, and that's what put me on Jessica's radar. So that, and then meeting with me for 20 minutes and seeing my personality and she's like, wow, I think people would like to hear what you have to say and would like to be inspired by your words. And so I hope that I achieved that when I was on her stage, which was a beautiful gift for me.
Yeah, it certainly was. So I know that it wasn't all sunshine and roses along the way. So what were some of the challenges that you came across, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Oh my gosh. The challenge that we get, I think, as women, is trying to do a lot in a short amount of time. And at the beginning, I would say at 2019, that was my thing. It's like run as fast as you can, trying to catch up with everything that you need to do. And may I say that the coronavirus really put me in my place a little bit? Can I say that? That there's, of course, negative things with corona, and we don't want to have COVID-19. And I'm so glad that we're all going to get vaccinated and out. But last year, made me stop on my tracks and reassess what is it that I am wanting to do. And so I would say my first mistake was trying to do too many things. But then again, the other side of it was that I did say yes to many opportunities, which brought me to where I am. So it's what comes first. Maybe the lesson is say yes, but also learn to say no. Say yes. Don't say, I'm going to say no because I'm going to, no. I like the idea of positive. Say yes, but learn what are the things that you need to say no to, and be okay with that. And number two, at first I thought that I was going to be just a speaker. That was my vision. I'm just going to be a speaker. And I was like applying to all these places. And then I was searching in my soul, and that's, how we met with Kristen's group, is I needed to be more than a speaker, more than a one-talk speaker, because I felt like I needed to use my education and my training background to put more of a teaching others. And so when positive intelligence came to my horizon, and I'll maybe share with you more, it seemed like such a beautiful combination of my positivity and my motivational and inspirational talks that are really uniquely to me because of my background in education and the Hebrew. So I put it in stuff when I talk about universal themes, but then use the techniques and the tools that appear in positive intelligence. And I feel like I got the best worlds together. So I don't feel like, I have to teach only my stuff and I have to train only my things. I am good in bringing goodness to the world from wherever they are. So if this is Shirzad Shamin teaching us like really techniques that could help every one of you to shift from a negative mindset to a positive mindset by creating a mental fitness, then I've done my job. Then I've done my calling. That I've done my career is complete. And that's how I feel about it. I don't have this ego. I got to do my stuff and my stuff only. I don't have that ego, and maybe that's another thing. At the beginning, I had a little bit more ego. I want the world to be my stage and only my stage. So, only for my words. And now I think I don't mind being a part of a community of similar messages, but each one has their own story to back it up. And that's what keeps me different and unique.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more, because one of my questions always is, what's your passion project right now? And it sounds like positive intelligence might be your passion project. So tell us a little bit more about what that is. And I'm sorry, his name was Shiraz?
His name is Shirzad Shamin.
Shirzad. Okay, so
Yeah,
tell us a
Shirzad
little bit about what that is.
Okay. So I'll tell you at the beginning. So in July, in March of 2020, when pandemic began, I got the opportunity to take a 6 weeks program with him.
Mhm.
And somebody says, "Hey, Dorice, do you want to do that?" And I said, "Yeah." Something came into my horizon and to my space. I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." So I did that. And then there was an option to continue for coaching certification program.
Yep.
And I felt that is great for me. And what is positive intelligence is the ability to shift your mind from negative mindset to positive. And it's based in neuroscience. So it's actually 4 different sciences put together. And so the idea is to move from left side of the brain, where we have what we call the saboteurs in positive intelligence world. I call it the self-defeating behaviors that we all have. People who are controlling, people who are avoiders, people who are pleasers, people who are hyperachievers, hyper vigilant. And there's 9 kinds of people. And, before anybody says, "Oh, I don't have any of these 5 things," you have one of those 9.
At least.
Just putting it out there. We all have them, and there's nothing to be ashamed. We are humans. We're not perfect. Otherwise, we would not be humans, right? So this is part of being a human being, is to work always on ourselves. And then in positive intelligence is the ability to shift our mind from the negative, from the left side to the right side, where we call the sage live, where I call your wiser self live. So what is those sage powers? And there's sage powers, and you actually train your brain to shift to this. So the sage perspective is that everything in life, you can glean out of it either a gift or an opportunity for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Even the hardest things. And of course, the harder the challenge is, the more black belt you have to be in order to get there, right? So somebody comes to me and they say, first thing they said, "Oh no, not everything can be turned into a gift and opportunity." And they'll give me these horrible scenarios of children that are dying, or Holocaust survivors, and I say, first of all, in order to really be in that level, you have to practice a lot. Your mental ability has to be really strong. At the same time, can we suspend judgment if it's right or wrong, this sentence? And one of the things I talk about and we train is the idea of the judging, the judging of ourselves, the judging of other people, judging of circumstances. So a lot of them, when people come to me and they say, no, some things are just bad, they're being judging that situation. So we go through training, and it does take a lot. It does take really profound work. And so you want to see how and I'll give you 20 seconds sample of how do we move from the left side to the right side. And again,
let's do it.
In the program itself that I teach, that I accompany people coaching, we call it the 8-week program. We do this, and the idea is that you do it 15 minutes a day. That's all. 15 minutes a day.
That's
it is
doable.
Actually, if you work on it, I read 2% of your waking up time. 2% of your waking up time, you can shift your mind, and you can be so much more calm and laser focused and grateful and positive, and all these things that I think most of us want to be.
Sure, yeah.
Being empathetic, being curious, being in a healthy relationship with another human being, right? So the exercise that we do is actually connecting us to the physicality of our body. So much time, our brain actually tells us what is going to happen, and sometimes it's not true. If we listen to how many thoughts come into our brain, what is it? I read 35,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine, Heather, if we had some kind of an activity following every single thought that came to our brain. We will go crazy. We'll go crazy. So what is the idea is to calm your brain down by really connecting to the physicality. So here is one example. So if whoever is listening, if you can sit straight in your chair, have your feet touch the ground if you can. Close your eyes. My eyes will be open. I'm looking at you right now, but when I do it for myself, I close my eyes. Put two fingers, finger and an index finger together with one another. And if you want to see how it looks, you can just like squint and just rub the ridges of your fingers and only concentrate on the feeling of the ridges of your fingers. You would be amazed that doing that, you actually create new neural pathways. It is incredible. And we do that for a few seconds. And then the other exercise that we do is you put your hands on your heart. So everybody put your hand on, and now try to feel the heartbeat. And sometimes you'll have a hard time finding it. So kind of move your hand that you can find it. And then move your hand down to your tummy and feel the rising and the falling of your tummy. Now, sometimes thoughts will come into your brain right even as you do that. You know, something that you have to cook, a child to pick up, something that's happened at work. You know, why are you listening to this? You know better. All that stuff will come, and that's your judge. That's interfering. So you gently acknowledge it and then send it away and empty your mind. And the more we do that, and it's only 15 minutes a day, the more our body, our neural pathways connecting to our prefrontal cortex, and we can then arrive in a sage perspective and be able for a sage behavior. So what are the sage behavior? They're the empathy, exploring of situations, like being really a fascinated archaeologist, like looking to really find solutions. If we are in a sabotage mindset, where our saboteurs are on the left mind, in the left brain, very hard to come up with ideas. Creativity is the other side. And then you think of how you can innovate. Innovation comes from this place. And what Heather was talking about, the activation, that also comes from this place. So how do you activate? That's where it comes from. Allowing ourselves that. So people say it's like mindfulness. Positive intelligence is mindfulness plus another level. And here's the other level. Mindfulness, sometimes, you know, when you do yoga and retreats, you have to be on your mat. You have to have the music playing. You have to be in a zen of your own, right? What we teach in positive intelligence is doing those activities in the middle of a staff meeting. So you don't do necessarily these ones that I just showed. You do other PQs. We call it PQ, positive intelligence quotient. Okay, this is our terminology, PQ. And then we actually learn. We learn so many situations in our life that we lack empathy a lot of the time for ourselves. If I were to ask your listeners and the people who are viewing right now, when was the last time you had empathy and unconditional love to yourself?
Yeah. And what I love about this, the two little exercises, is that I remember when my son was going through a tough time, and we would tell him, you know, breathing, right? Because it's something you can do anywhere you are, right? You can do it while you're sitting in a classroom, and no one has to know, right? There's nothing obvious about taking a deep breath and letting it go. And this is why I love these two little exercises, because you can even do this when you're in a staff meeting. You just do it down low, right? Is that these are tools that you can take with you wherever you go. You don't need a yoga mat. You don't need the meditation gong. You don't need the teacher walking you through it. I love this. I am so excited to dive in. I'm going to go check out some positive intelligence stuff, because I love.
You know what? First of all, I would, I know we're rushing, but do join me on this free webinar that I'm giving on March 18th. Join me. It's free. It's good. Join me. And then I can show you what is the next step after that. But that will be, your foundation, your beginning. And it's so chock full of information. You're just going to love that. And please do that, because I would love to have you. I would love to have you join me on this webinar. And then in general, anything at all, because it's my almost, I want to bring this positivity, because that's what positive intelligence is. You know, it's this bringing of positivity into our daily life. And Heather, it's so funny because, you know, when I called myself Oi to Joy Relationship Navigator, I did not have positive intelligence back then in my back pocket. I did not know that. But I knew that that's where I'm heading. And by the way, one more thing, when you talked about your son, my son, 18 years, he's going to be 18 in April. And he's right now applying for college and scholarships. Okay? Very stressful. A week ago, he's over there, so I'm not going to shout out loud so he doesn't hear I'm talking about him, because he's never going to watch Facebook, because he's not going to be on Facebook, he tells me. Okay, so back to this.
He's the one kid in America that's not, right?
Yeah, he's like, no, I've got Instagram, I've got Snapchat, I've got this, I've got that. I said, fine. So anyway, but he was literally in a panic and an attack about this scholarship thing. And he was shouting and it was not pretty. So I came behind him, I hugged him and I said, let's do a couple. And I'm holding him from the back. And I said, let's do a couple of PQs. And then I whisper the directions to him. And he's in front of me and he's an 18-year-old kid. He's not like a 5-year-old, 18. We're hugging him. I'm hugging him. And we're doing this for like 3 minutes. At the end of the 3 minutes, he says to me an idea that he had about how to overcome this challenge that he was like, all his brain was like all this. And I said, you see, when you are in that place, solutions will come up. But when we are in the stress, anxiety place, we are constrained. We can't think of solutions. We just think of survival. I said,
yeah,
you know, this is not where we are. I said, let's get into the sage, because in the sage, solutions are there. And you are going to be in the ease and flow because they're going to come out of you.
Yeah. I remember when my son was little, excuse me, a little, like in diapers little. And during the day, it's so frenetic, that energy, right? It's just, you know, where is he trying to keep him from killing himself, right? Like put stuff in his mouth or put his fingers in the outlets, that kind of stuff. And it was so frenetic. And it was so, because you're a mom, right? You're a new mom. That's just what it is. But I remember I would lay down at night next to his crib until he would fall asleep and unpack my day mentally. And that's when all of these great ideas like, oh, I could do that. Or, oh, I hadn't thought about that, because I was allowing my brain to settle down and to be quiet. Right? I mean, there's truth in you hear these moms that have like 9 kids are like, you're driving me crazy. I can't even think. I can't even hear myself think. And you can't. And you don't have to have 9 children in the background doing that. It's your brain sometimes all by itself that's doing that noise and doing that energy. So I love this idea of nothing good and productive is going to come out of that energy, right? It has to be from a place of calm.
Oh, yeah. The sage, we always have to think that the sage perspective comes from a place of love. The saboteur perspective comes from the place of fear.
Right.
So when you feel negative feelings, think, where does it come from? And how long do you want to stay there? Because it will be as if your hand is on a hot stove and you're going to keep your hand on a hot stove for a long time. Like, why? Why do we want to do this? Like, how long do we want to feel the victim? How long do we want to feel insulted? How long is it benefiting you? For some people, when they realize that they are, one of the saboteurs is being a victim, they feel like the saboteur tells them the lie that, oh, when they feel the victim, other people are going to feel sad for them. And for them, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I want them to feel sad for me. Yeah. In the long run, what happens when you constantly in the victim mode, other people are going to stop listening. Yeah. There's going to be this like, oh, again, she comes always feeling like the world goes against her.
Yep.
So at the beginning, what we always say in positive intelligence, at the beginning, it gives you breadcrumbs, but you want the whole loaf of bread. And the saboteurs are giving you, I know, if you eat bread. Gluten free.
Whatever that is for you. I want to be mindful of your time, but I don't know what your time frame is right now, but I just have a couple quick more questions to pick your brain if you don't mind. I love all of this. And you're just such a joy and just such a wealth of information that I can't believe we're lucky enough to have you join us today. So I
And
wanted to ask you.
to be with you. Okay, I'm lucky to be with
Aw.
you, and I'm giving of my time in a beautiful way, and I'm completely giving it and generous about it. And by the way, if there are people who are interested in the positive intelligence work, either the group already, because I run groups every, I'm starting one in April, so I'm not starting anyone until private groups. When I say private groups, not connected to companies, because I work with companies as well. So, but private groups that are coming out of webinars and out of this, I will start one in April. So
Awesome.
there is going to be a link that I think I gave you for my calendar. Those people who want to sign up and want to hear a little bit more and details are welcome to contact me.
I love it. I love it. You lead with such a spirit of service, which is what I love and adore about you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. So I will put those links down below to your website and to your events coming up and how people can connect with you. And then do you have anything that, like, what you can leave us with, a habit that you've done either throughout your life or just recently? What's a habit that's been really instrumental to your success that you do?
I have so many habits, like I'm like a good habit. Like every morning I get up and I say a particular prayer. That's my thing. And it's a Jewish prayer. It's a prayer of gratitude for God giving me my soul back so I can breathe. And I do it every morning when I am in bed. It doesn't matter if my back hurts me a little bit or if my, something is going on, but I say, I just open my eyes. Thank you, God. And what I love about this particular prayer that I say in Hebrew, which I'm happy to send you to transliteration, it actually says, thank I you, God, King of the universe, who have put the soul back into me. And regardless if you believe in God or not, you can say, thank I you, the source, thank I you, nature, thank I you, the power, the universe, for giving me my life back. But what I love about this prayer is that it starts with the word thank I you, rather than I thank you, which will be most of the time the syntax of the Hebrew language, just like English, right? I love ice cream, right? It's subject, verb, object. But here in this prayer that we say, the first thing in the morning that we say is the verb gratitude, grateful I am to you, God, comes first. How often do we, the first thought in our brain is of gratitude? So to me, waking up and saying that when I'm still in bed and I say it out loud, nobody hears me. Usually my husband is already out and working out, whatever. I'm saying this and, and I'm just, so that's one thing that I do. The other thing is that I am hopeful, but I'm also driven. So I'm hopeful for things to happen, but I'm always taking an action every day. Every day, I take at least 2 actions that are out of my control. So not actions for me to do, like if I'm writing a blog. Yes, exactly. Outside of my control, 2 actions that I do. And so if it's an email to a corporation, or if it's a phone call to a friend who has some connections, or something that has to do with my, and then I always keep times on my calendar to do what I call this beautiful coffee chats. Some things just to connect with people over a glass of coffee, over a cup of coffee. I regard this as one of those beautiful times that I have. And yeah, and that's usually what I would say.
Awesome. And I love that you do it daily, which is, I think, the biggest thing is just that consistency, right?
That's right. Consistency is important. It's so important to be consistent. Yeah. Is my video off or something?
Okay, well, I'm not sure if Dorice can hear me or not. Oh, no, I think it's on my end. I'm not sure. But anyways, this is a good place for us to wrap up. I want to be mindful of your time. I have picked your brain well over today. And then I want to make sure that I will put you have a class coming up. You'll do it this positive intelligence, and I can't wait to get it and learn more about this, because this stuff really feeds my brain and feeds my soul. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we will see you next Tuesday at high noon Pacific Standard Time for our next installment of Bold Breakthroughs. Miss Dorice, you're frozen. I don't know if that's, oh, there you are. Now you're back.
I'm hearing you.
There you are. Okay, good. Oh, good. Okay. You're not seeing me move, but maybe you're hearing me anyways. I love technology. I will touch base with you later. I am so excited to touch base with you again. It's been a really, really long time. I hope my audience has enjoyed this as much as I have. So thank you, my dear, and we will see each other soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.